I've ever been so self-conscious about being an actor. With the burden of breaking a tradition like that. Over time, though, my son goes to the University of Texas, so we're back to Well, first of all, thank you all on behalf of my grandmother, Joe, and the entire Bill Murray family. Thank you very much for this recognition. Bill really would have liked to have been here. He loved the University of Texas. He loved the Petroleum Engineering Department. This is an opportunity he surely would have sorely missed, and he wished he would have been here. A few things you ought to know about Bill. If you read the pamphlet, you can see that he's a visionary leader. He was a statewide elected official. He formed, if you will, modern conservation policy in Texas as well as the United States. But behind that, there's really just a plain old guy. And that's some of the things I want to bring to your attention this evening. He's not an indoor guy. He'd rather be outside. He's frustrated when he's inside. He never would have liked a computer if that was ever stuck in front of him. He really wasn't a connoisseur of fashion. He always preferred what he called short pants with comfortable shoes and dark socks. He wore clip-on ties. Well, he did until they stopped making them for grown-ups. He loved to tell stories. That was really one of his favorite ways to communicate and educate, was through stories. And if you ever heard one of his stories, you were really in for a treat. He loved the Boy Scouts. He lived his life according to their principles. He loved to give, and he always gave generously. That was one of his key things. He lived a life of personal courage and triumph. He was in a terrible auto accident, and the doctors told him that he wouldn't walk, that his vision would be severely restricted. And you can see he came back from that just fine. It took a lot of courage and a lot of effort on his part. But he really was, even though he was an ordinary man, he did live an extraordinary life. And these are some thoughts that I think he would say if he were here today. Well, the first thing he'd say is, "Oh, shucks. Why me? Why did I get this award? I'm no better than anybody else." He considers himself to have been around a lot of great people, a lot of people who have given themselves unselfishly, including many graduates from this department. He considered the petroleum industry a noble pursuit. It was something that made life better for people, made life affordable. Energy is a terrific thing to have. And it also helped secure the United States, literally won a war in his view, based on a sustainable supply of petroleum, and helped make this nation great. Now, one of the things that he would do whenever he gave a talk is he'd zero in on the word. And I think that the word that he would zero in on today is distinguished. And he'd wonder, how the heck did I become recognized as being distinguished? Because he'd think that everybody's distinguished, that in some way, whether they're recognized or not, people are going to distinguish themselves in some special way. Certainly his education and his background gave him the credibility to be distinguished, but there were other characteristics about him that I think made him the leader that he is. First of all, it was his integrity and his honesty in the way that he would approach people. He valued the opinion that people would give. He would take the time to listen to them, to understand their point of view. And many times he was put into difficult positions because of who he was and what he represented to help resolve issues. When conservation was being developed, there were stakes in play that would affect people's fortunes in their lives. And so it was serious consequences that they were dealing with, and they needed someone, an honest broker, to help achieve the greater good. I think if Bill were here today, the last thing he'd say is he'd look out and he'd see the young folks in the audience, those of you who are currently students, maybe you're early on in your career, and he'd challenge you to say, look, you can be distinguished too. Build on the education that you have from the Petroleum Engineering Department and then go out into life and experience people. Learn to treat them with integrity, with honesty and respect. Have values and always live up to those values. Make sure that you're honest and ethical in everything that you do. And of course, he'd say return back to the petroleum engineering department and attend their special events. Again, thank you all very much. My grandmother Jo, can you stick up your hand?
Raise your hand. Raise your hand.
Coming up is my cousin, William James Murray IV. James, you'll receive the award.
That was great. I have a Bill Murray story myself. When I was a graduate student in the petroleum engineering department, I got
so much.
of course. And I think the faculty at the time didn't think I could probably do a very good job at it, so they asked Bill Murray if he would co-teach a course with me. And so I had already had one semester under my belt, and I thought I could do it, but I got the opportunity to meet and work with Bill during that. And so we took the course material that I put together and we divided it up. He was going to cover some topics and I was going to cover the other. The problem was, and Ronald mentioned this, that every time Bill came to class, he just told a story. And so I had to make up all the material he didn't cover in my half. But it certainly was well worth it. Our next honoree is Mr. Jeff Edgar. He graduated with his master's degree in petroleum engineering in 1997, but he went a long